decision they're going to want to move on it. I think that we should at least be studying it. The idea of maybe the city getting it, I think that it's something that could pay for itself. I think it could promote economic development, and I think it would certainly help with the quality of life, and probably help with retaining some residents from going elsewhere. So I want people to just be aware that that's something that's out there and on the table.
Okay.
And if that's something that, between dance recitals, music recitals, concerts, theater performances, non-denominational, weddings and the like, I have a feeling we could probably keep that building pretty busy. So I just wanted to throw that out there, but that's all I have. Anybody else have any questions or want to add anything?
I've got a few, I guess. As we look at the cost associated with the downtown district plan and the 175th and I-35, how much information do we hope to gain from the comprehensive plan in response to those two pieces? Because I know those were things that we've discussed.
Right.
So we're looking on studies on top of studies. I wonder when we start to see redundancies in costs, when we're asking and asking and asking, but we keep asking different people about it.
The comprehensive plan won't give you the detailed downtown plan. When we talked with the consultant and we did that work, we talked about a separate component that would give you the more detailed analysis. They'll look at kind of maybe where your core should be, but in terms of looking at your parcels, looking at land use, developing the visuals of what it should look like, that's not what they're contracted to do in the scope of the work, and that's not how we did it. So it's a second look. The KDOT study is more, it's transportation focused. They won't do the detailed land use component. So you have components of it, but you won't have a comprehensive study until you start to look at parcels, land development to see how it's going to be developed, and look at what does that look like. Because there's some things you have to decide in downtown. You want to decide things like building scale. What do you want your height to be? What do you want the design to look like? None of that work is in any of the studies we currently have underway. The comprehensive plan is much broader, more visionary than that detailed level work. We're hoping here with this study to get something that you can actually implement. It will give you the opportunity to perhaps create a downtown overlay district or a downtown specific zoning district to be able to stimulate the kind of development you want. We don't have that work scheduled in any of the studies.
On the marketing and rebranding initiatives, I know that we've just started work on the web development.
That is correct.
Is it going to add any additional costs if we go through a total marketing and rebranding?
No, because
we
we have those things, we would have those come together. And remember, as part of your marketing and branding, you're doing website. Here, you're getting ready to look at signage. So one is internal operations website technology. The other one is what's the visual look out on the street.
Right.
So it's a different component. I don't know if you've seen
there are different components in any rebranding initiative, but
right.
What cost would we be adding to just the simplest piece of our website development if we come along next year and say, actually, we've got a new brand new tagline, new standard for excellence that we need to incorporate into all this web development that we're doing? Because I don't have the presentation in front of me, but I don't know what sort of updates on that type of scale when we talk to the brand itself.
No,
we're going to add cost in different projects.
What you'd want to do is, as you're developing your website, you want to be looking at what you're going to be having in terms of your tagline. Have that done now, but you need to deploy it. I'm sorry, yes?
I would then go ahead and finish.
Oh, okay.
But want to send it to Steve there.
Oh, okay. You want to deploy what you come up with through the website development onto other components throughout your city.
Yeah, I wanted to address your question directly because I actually asked that question when the web developers were here making their presentations, and I asked specifically about marketing and branding because obviously look and feel of the website, look and feel of your content and things like that are directly related to your branding and your logos and everything else. And they stated to me that there would not be any additional cost from the standpoint of maintenance and development of that site if there's a rebranding that takes place during the period of maintenance. So that's already been covered, and I think that we're pretty confident it's not going to involve any additional cost.
Looking at the West Side Park improvement plans, I know we had a was that any additional fields or land acquisition, or is that only enhancements of the amenities itself?
That is not land
Because
acquisition.
Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, fields are really what we need almost more of at this point than, although I understand the concessions needs and other things, but one of the big parts is we could put more seats in fields, and we're $750,000 almost without a new field.
Right, and I will tell you, we have an opportunity to look at land acquisition. That's not land acquisition. When we discuss land acquisition, you'll recall there is vacant property there that we can look at. We discussed internally and thought, okay, that's probably a very big ticket item. I'd be happy to entertain that, because we kind of went back and forth on whether we should bring you the land acquisition component now, or if we just try and deal with the facility we have, but I am very open, we are very open to looking at the land acquisition.
I think I'd rather see that number than 700,000, because frankly, and I'll just be blunt,
Okay.
I don't think better concessions will keep them any closer than they are right now. Concessions are a need, they're a necessity. The state of our concession stand, I don't think chases them out or chases them in. More fields mean more teams,
Okay.
mean more people, mean more concessions revenue regardless of the structure itself. So I think we're putting our money in the wrong spot there, and even if it's a bigger pill to swallow, that's the number I'd be more interested in. That's where I'd rather go with it, even if it's a bigger pill, that return on investment than what we see right here. What I see when we put that out there is they have a fancier place to buy the same Coke that they had before, definitely need better restaurant facility, or restroom facilities.
Right.
But then it's another local playground at that point beyond that, and is that something that we need, because it just seems like a lot of money that I don't think is gonna capture it, and I struggle with the same thing with the lighting and even the talks about the Gardner corridor. You know, I've been through a lot of downtowns, I've never looked at a light and said, I can't wait to do business here.
Mm-hmm.
How far would $260,000 go if we put in some economic development packages to incentivize opening a new business downtown?
Okay.
Or incentivizing our current downtown businesses to enhance their storefronts? That's what would draw attractive. And I mean, we've got $260,000 for lights, but we only want $20 grand for sidewalks, which definitely impacts pedestrian traffic. So it seems out of scale for what our returns are gonna be. So those are some of the concerns I have. I guess it's probably better for the times that we discuss those in detail, but as I look at these numbers, I'm not seeing the returns on them. I'm seeing big numbers, but not big returns, when we could probably realign those funds in a different way and find in different ways to do that. And maybe we're making too small an investment on the downtown plan and talking about how we incorporate Cornerstone Park into, you know, monthly Friday night theater series and those sort of things. That's what's going to be the quality of life. That's what's going to impact that. It's not for us to, I don't know, I struggle with it because the numbers are big, but I don't think they're being spent where we're going to get the greatest return. Here, now I know these aren't final, these are projections.
Your thinking is that for West Side, we look more comprehensive, we look at the acquisition, and we look at a total picture there, so that we get the additional field.
I can't
Okay.
see any way where more fields won't bring in more revenue as opposed to a
All
new
right.
concession stand. Jeff, I mean,
We've
I would
done some of
more
that.
than be happy to hear the opinion on that if I'm all wet by myself, but I feel like more fields, more teams, more people, more money.
Sure.
Matt, is he?
I'd be happy to address that. I think there's two things. There's certainly, in answer to your question, there is a market today for a demand, I should say, that we could fill up some additional fields from what we have today.
Right.
No question. At the same time, with the condition of our existing facilities at Westside Park, I think we are doing a bit of a disservice to those that do utilize that space, specifically with the concession and restroom facilities, extremely poor condition, need to basically start from scratch there. The overflow parking lot needs to be addressed. It's a gravel lot. It was temporary overflow until funds can be identified to pave that. So we've got some things that we need to do drainage-wise so that we can successfully host tournaments, league play, and things. So I think it is twofold. I think certainly there is a market to expand. We're having a lot of success right now on weekends with hosting tournaments. We just had, I think it was 45 teams here this past weekend. But we've got some things we need to take care of with the existing facilities too.
Okay. And I think you were looking for us to fill these out now?
Yes, if we could get your top 3 priorities, what we'd like to do is get the individual priorities And if you could take a quick break and give us a few minutes to kind of get them tallied here so we can see what a consent